Golden child siblings got $370,000 from our parents, while I got nothing. But they still mock my small wedding that I paid for myself. So I finally snapped at the family dinner. I, 27M, am the third of 4 siblings and I've always felt like an afterthought. Lori, 33F, Chuck, 29M, and Jade, 25F, have always gotten the first and best from my parents and each other. I get the leftovers if I'm lucky. I haven't gotten a birthday present from any of my siblings in about 10 years, but I still get asked to pitch in for group gifts for each of them every year. On Friday night we were having a family dinner and it honestly felt like every other sentence was a dig at me or a less than subtle brag by my siblings about something they had been given by my parents that I was denied. They talked about how nice almost all of our weddings were, but made sure to mention it was okay that my wife and I had a small low-key wedding. And it was okay, we loved it. But they brushed over the fact that my parents paid for all of my siblings' weddings. But not mine. Because somehow they couldn't afford it. Because they were saving up for Jade's wedding. They brought up how little student loans they have. Because my parents helped them. All of them lived on campus at expensive 4-year schools. I lived at home and went first to a, very prestigious, very hard to get into, watchmaking school. I got paid to attend this school. So I paid rent at home. My parents paid for my tools. And I appreciate the help. I really do. But they paid $121.50K each for my siblings. They gave me $7K for tools. But to them it's equal. When I went back to school on my own I didn't ask for money and wasn't offered it. When my brother went back to school they covered everything without him even having to ask. There were many other small moments, comments about cars and other lifestyle choices, but what made me snap was my brother and his wife mentioning their marriage being so great because they do things like spontaneous dates, like the one they had the prior Friday night. The Friday night where my parents called my wife and I last minute to cancel plans. They had to eat dinner at our house because they had to watch Chuck's kids because of an emergency. Turns out that emergency was a dinner for Chuck and my sil at Texas Roadhouse. I had spent hours making my grandpa's ziti and meatballs with homemade marinara because it's my mom's favorite. I wanted more than anything to scream at them, but instead I got up and left without saying a word and my wife followed me. When my mom called me later to ask why I left, I just explained exactly why. I explained the favoritism, the unfairness, and the fact that it doesn't feel like they care about me. She didn't say much and I wasn't really looking for an explanation or an apology in the moment. I just felt like it was self-evident, but if she really didn't see it I'd spell it out. Evidently at least parts of what I said have been shared with my siblings because now Chuck and Lori are furious at me and saying I ruined dinner and my mom is upset that I am hurt. They say I'm immature for keeping score. Ida? Comments where Op has replied, commenter, NTA. Your siblings are keeping score as well. They use that score to belittle you every time they see you. Your parents, including your mom who is all of a sudden upset that you are hurt, have allowed that to happen. Your mom is only upset because you finally stood up for yourself and called them all out. Keep on keeping score, they certainly will. Op, honestly on the phone she didn't seem agitated at all, but when I started explaining everything she just kinda got sad I guess? She got real quiet and didn't say much. Commenter, NTA. I don't know if this is the best solution. But, if I were you I would write everything down just like you told us. Then send it to each one of my family members in a group chat. Then block them. I would move on from a relationship with them and love them from a distance. Sidebar, do you and all your siblings look exactly alike? Op, Jade is adopted. So no. But she has always been the baby and been treated as such anyway. My first draft had a lot more background but it was way over the character limit. I look almost exactly like my paternal grandfather. I even have the same thing with my eyes where they were blue when I was born but have formed a brown ring around the outside as I've grown up. So there's almost no possibility that I'm not my father's son if that's what you are getting at. Jade is on my side incidentally, and she feels awful about the wedding thing, but she didn't find out about them not paying for my wedding until about 6 months ago, which is 6 months after her wedding. She assumed that they had paid for part of my house or something, because verbally that had always been the deal. But no, I got to pay for my own wedding and my parents never honored the long-standing agreement of we have money saved for each of